All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Run Wild with Us. Ask Chris and Lisa anything. I'm Lisa. This is Chris. And
Hello
we
there.
are here on our standard weekly little gathering where you guys can ask us whatever you want. It doesn't mean we're going to answer you, but it
Right.
means that you can ask it. So today, I'm trying to think if there's anything like exciting going on. Let's see. So it's April, and the next books that we have coming out are Take Me With You by Vanessa Carlyle. I think there are a couple of little minor tweaks that are being done for that one. I believe the date is June. And then the other one is Whales Swim Naked by Eric Gethers. And that one's
Which
got, isn't
it
that a,
that one's gonna be a fun read for anybody who wants to check it out.
oh yeah, that one's going to be fun. Um, that one, like, so we talked about that one before.
We did.
Yeah, like what he based it on. So he had heard the author Eric had heard a story about um a man who married a woman. He thought he had like the perfect relationship. It was fabulous. On their first wedding anniversary, she tosses out there, "Hey, by the way, when you go out to work every day, I'm out here having affairs." And
Well,
he's
how does that
like,
come up? Like, is it casual or is it like a like? Think about it. Like, how do you even broach that? It's just oh,
I
by the
don't.
way, can you bring me like a Coke on your way back from the kitchen? And by the way,
And
you
by
know.
the way, I've been sleeping with like every person I can find. Yeah, that's always fun.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how that comes up. I actually grew up with someone when we were teenagers. She was very promiscuous, and we actually did an intervention. Like,
What? It was that bad?
yeah,
Jeez.
like we sat her down. And we were like, "Look, if you're gonna do this, at least use protection." And we
Right.
like
Oh,
gave
geez, no
her,
protection. Jeez.
yeah, we gave her like a whole thing of protection so that now, what's interesting is, I'm clearly not going to name any names because
Right.
no. She went on, got married right out of high school, and they're still
Oh,
married today. So,
wow. It's so funny. There was a guy I went to high school with, and he was like, "Oh, forget women. I'm playing. I'm a player. I'm doing this. I've never settled down." And it seemed like as soon as we walked across the stage, he was married, and they're still married, which is so funny
really,
because he did all that talk. It was so much talk, like it's crazy. It was like, and we looked up like, "Dude, you're married?" He's like, "Yeah, we got married. A couple weeks after graduation." It's like, what is all this that you were talking? What's going on? But
I
it's funny.
I don't. There's some people. I mean, I think they just meet. They when they meet the right person, they know it, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
I
know.
agree. I agree. And so yeah, but that's funny. Yeah, yeah, that friend we
But
did
I
that.
don't know how that comes up. I don't know how you just randomly
Yeah,
mention.
just really bring it up, like pass the remote. And by the way, like I don't know, like I'm trying to, you know, but
Mm-mm.
you have to buy the book to figure
Find
it out.
out. Yeah. I mean, hey,
But
you
that's an
know,
interesting scene.
right? That's really, yeah. What's funny too? So the poor author, we keep sending him sample copies, and he keeps coming back saying like the pages are missing page numbers. So then we keep going back to the printer, and they're like, it looks fine here. So if you buy the book, you'll get to find out if it actually has page numbers or not.
Right. Well, I think doesn't Kindle, they have like within the app, don't they have the thing at the bottom that you can um you have to forgive me. I haven't read a book on Kindle in a while.
I think
I'm
so. Yeah. I mean, Kindle does, but he's talking about the paperback.
oh, paperback. Oh, ooh, yikes.
And
Definitely
when
gonna
we
need
look at
a
the sample files, the files that you submit
right.
for them to then actually make the paperback, it's
Mhm.
got page numbers. So I don't know. This will be
Yeah.
interesting.
We definitely have to like dog ear that or bookmark. I've always been a dog ear reader, never a bookmark reader.
Yeah,
I
me
don't know if
too.
people do bookmarks. I'll lose a bookmark really easily. So I gotta fold it real deep so it like, you know,
And
I can just open it back up.
I never understood people who got upset at other people who like book who dog eared. Like it's a book. The whole point
Right,
is for you to read it.
right. I don't know. There's,
Mm.
I think I had this one really cool bookmark I got from the bookstore, a local bookstore, and I liked it a lot. But again, like I lose the smallest stuff. Like that's why I don't like. I'd really love to have like AirPods and like to have them in my ear, but I'd lose them. I'd lose them in a day.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
the same with like if I do that with those, think about what I do with a bookmark. So I just dog ear it, can't lose it.
Mm.
Um, and and yeah, but yeah, I'm excited for that one to come out though. Just for that, um, just for that scene. It'll make for good TV.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yep. And then we have a whole bunch of other books that were scheduled to come out this year, and I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to put them out in 2022 because we're switching distributors,
Right.
and the new distributor actually gives us a sales force,
Oh,
but
nice.
the sales force requires you to have the books in by a specific date, and it's a lot farther in advance than we're used to doing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I sent a note out to all the authors, just giving them an option, as to whether when they want to have the book out, you know.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
That's cool.
this will be
Oh,
interesting.
yeah. Another note, I was thinking about buying some new house shoes. Are you a house shoes person?
Am I a house shoe person?
Yeah. Like, do you wear shoes in the house? Like
Uh,
house shoes?
I have flip flops on.
Flip flops? Okay, that counts. I think that counts. No, it doesn't count. It doesn't count as house shoes. Do you wear those flip flops outside too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those aren't
Oh,
house
you
shoes.
mean shoes that are just for the house?
Yeah, just for the house.
No, I mean even if I even wear my slip so technically my slippers aren't house shoes because I've worn them to like the grocery store.
Well, no, okay. There's exceptions. Those days where you just don't care. Like, I think those
Mm-hmm.
are exceptions. I'm known to have quite a few of those. I'll just put on whatever.
How
But I'm
about
not a
you?
house. I'm not a house shoe person. I'm barefoot, but I'm in like rural Alabama, so
Mm.
uh, I walk outside barefoot, no issue.
It's funny because I used to walk around the house with no shoes on all the time, and my husband has a thing about it. So, like, I just started
Yeah,
always
some
watching
people
him.
really do. Some people have a thing about
Mm,
walking around barefoot. I get it. Like, I guess I get it. I don't know. I don't get it. I take that back. But I don't know. Some people do. But I was thinking about buying a new pair. Just because but I do like to wear them from time to time. Well, I guess you know what? I wouldn't even call them house shoes because I do like when I don't feel like putting anything on, I just slip my feet into them and run to
mm,
Walmart or something. Speak,
yeah, I don't know.
speaking of, I got to get a new printer. I like to print my stuff out when I edit it, and
Mm,
my printer went down, so I got to get another one. It's so crazy. Like it's cheaper to buy a new printer than it is to buy the ink cartridges for it.
oh
Which
yeah,
is nuts. Which is nuts. So that's essentially what I do when I run out of ink. I just go buy another computer. Comes with the color, comes with the black. Simple. Oh,
that's pretty smart. Mm,
yeah, just get a new printer. Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. I think it's like $5 cheaper. I mean, because
to just
yeah,
get an
like
ink
five.
printer.
Yeah, $5. No, it's $5. The cartridge I think is like $16, and the printer's like 20, 21 or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's like you just could get a new printer every time. It's cheaper, and not only do you get the printer, you get the ink cartridge, the black ink, and you get the color ink. So it really doesn't make any sense to just go get unless there's like I don't know. I get superstitious about stuff, so I don't know if I come across a printer where the writing's good when I'm using it. Maybe I'll buy the cartridge, make that sacrifice. But
Mm,
typically,
got
I
it.
just go get a new printer. So
I just send it all to FedEx Kinkos because it's cheap to just.
it really is. I've done that before. I'm so lazy sometimes. I hate having to get in the car, buckle up, back out of the driveway, drive through the neighborhood, stop at all the stop signs, go up the road, red light. I was like, no. So that's the real reason I bought a printer in the first place because it is cheaper to just go to Kinko's or
Yeah.
FedEx or UPS or something, just get it printed off.
Yep. Exactly. It's just
So
cheaper and easier. For anybody who's watching, just in case, if you have a question for us, any questionable that you have, anything, go for it. Just go ahead and pop it in the comments section. And then I'll just repeat it, and then Chris and I'll respond. So if you are watching this, by the way, and it is not a Wednesday at either 4 p.m. Pacific time or 7 p.m. Eastern time, that's not a big deal. Just go ahead, toss your questions in the comments section, and we'll answer. So
Yeah.
cool. I had a really interesting conversation today with someone who's like in PR. He's like a big PR person,
Okay.
and I guess we're really well known, so that's kind of interesting.
Oh, nice.
Mm. And he was like, "Oh yeah, obviously, everybody's heard of Running Wild Press," and I was like, "They have."
Right, right.
I'm like, "Oh, that's good to know."
That is good to know. That is good to know, especially
Mm-hmm.
from my PR. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that brightened the day.
So look out now. When you go down the street, people will be like stopping you, like, "Hey,
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Oh, geez,
what's up?"
I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a celebrity. I wanted to be a rapper when I was younger, and
Did
I
you?
swear, me and my friends, we had it was a shed in my friend's backyard, and we set up like a studio and stuff. And I want to be a rapper so bad. And he got this summer job, and he came home one day. He's like, "Guys, I don't want to rap anymore. I want to write books." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "I could write books, and I could walk around, and nobody would know who I was."
That's not
And
true anymore.
is it really? It's not.
Nah, like a lot of authors. Well, I mean, it depends on how big your social media following is and that kind of thing. But
That's true.
most authors, I mean, what most authors, people know them when they see them.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know that. Now I know. I should have stuck to rap.
Mm. John Hardick said, "Okay, Chris. So you were gonna tell us about your romance novel.
Oh, jeez.
So you're
I
on it
did.
now."
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Okay. I gave it thought about subgenre.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a geez, I don't know. I was never able to put my finger on it. Like satirical, it's I don't know. I like the joke. But
What's it
subgenre, I
about?
don't know. I'm sorry.
What's it about?
Oh, just okay. I happen to think that all fiction is auto fiction. I know like fantasy and stuff, it's different, but I happen to think that all fiction is auto fiction. So it's like a writer, and I don't know. It's a fantasy. That's what I'll call it, John. It's romantic fantasy.
It's romantic fantasy, but like, all right. So, but tell it like, what's it about? Like, what's the
Okay,
storyline?
okay. So it's about a writer who is
Mm-hmm.
a trans woman, Chari Richardson, and then it's about a painter who two grow up together and they go off in their separate ways, and then kind of interweaving narratives, and then again, it's still a work in progress, so I'm still piecing things
Figuring it out.
together. Yeah, like I write weird, so like I don't write linear, like chapter one, then two, then three. Like I write different chapters at different points in time, and then I go back and then I arrange them and put them in order. Like in my head, I know that there are like I know the timeline in my head when I write it. Oh, this happens at this part, this happens at that part. But it's only when I get like a big collection that I'll actually sit down, spend a day, and just like put them in order and stuff.
Oh, interesting. So you wait. So you write different sections at different points, and then you go back and put them in order.
Yeah, and I go back and put them in order.
That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't always. Well, that lends itself to a lot of like time jumps.
Uh
So,
huh.
um, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I think a lot of my writing is very tight scoped on very like minute things. Uh, that's the thing. Like it's like sitcoms, right? Like you watch a sitcom and you know that there's like days or weeks in between the last episode and kind of their fictional world, and uh, that's kind of how I think my manuscript works. Is like there's like a yeah, you just understand these people living their everyday lives and nothing happens, and so until this, I don't know, I like sitcoms until this episode happens, and then there's something there, but but yeah, so it does lend itself to a lot of time jumps, but I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I think it keeps the drama up because again, you write a book like there's lots of low moments because at least for me, there's chapters I have to work through sometimes, instead of like enjoying the story, or I could be on chapter 2, have
Mhm.
to work through chapter 3 to get to chapter 4 when the thing is going to happen that I want to know what happens, or uh, when this character's, I don't know, kind of timeline comes back into the focus of the book.
Mhm.
So I try to eliminate that. I consider myself a poet, so I try to give every line, paragraph, page, chapter a little pop to it. So it's hard to get bored from or walk away from. I kind of want the reader to sit down and get lost, like a big time sink, and then
Mhm.
maybe like a bathroom break, or you get hungry, or phone rings, and you're like, oh wait a minute, I've been sitting down here reading,
For hours.
for hours. I didn't even realize it.
Mhm.
Like I think the biggest compliment I could get from a reader is if, like, to be read in one day. I think that would
Mm.
be the biggest compliment I could ever get. To sit down and read, somebody sit down and read and get so lost that
Mhm.
they finish the book in a day. But that all depends on the length of it. So, um,
Mm.
so yeah,
I could
yeah,
see that. I used to write non-linearly, like, so I would come up with an idea, and then I would write against whatever that idea was, right? And to your point, like, you'd hit points where it's like, I don't know, I got to get through this section to get to the next one.
right,
Then you end up revising the heck out of it, right? So that whole section that was difficult to get through maybe might just all get edited out, right?
right.
Or just so significantly revised it has looks nothing like how it did when you first wrote it. Like, the very first novel I wrote, my former sister-in-law, God bless her, read the whole thing, and
Oh,
I would
nice.
not wish that on anybody because I wrote that totally on the fly, like,
Right.
yeah, just totally off the cuff. I just sat down and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote over. I think it was like 6 months, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did that for the first manuscript I wrote. It was over, like, I think NaNoWriMo happened, but I was in college, so I couldn't do it. And I took, like, the Christmas break, and I just
Mm-hmm.
sat down. I
And
turned
wrote
out
a ton.
3,000. I turned out 3,000 words a day for a month. So I definitely know that. But that's my biggest fear: getting that deep into a book and then realizing, like, the book isn't everything you have. It starts at like chapter 27, and then
That's
you gotta, like,
very common though. A
yeah,
lot
I
of
know,
people, their first book or you know, their first couple books, the initial 20, 50 pages is really it's like them leading up to the actual start of the book, you know.
I had an editor tell me one time, like, yeah, you got to clear your throat, because he knew I like rap. You got to clear your throat sometimes, and, like, just kind of spin your wheels until something catches traction,
Yeah.
and then you go from there. But that's my biggest fear, that, like, so that's why I write, like, different chapters at a different time, and because I do not want to get deep into a book and, like, or even worse, finish it, and realize, this page is the book, not everything, or this last chapter is the book. That'd be terrible. But yeah, I've heard that that's common. I've heard that that's common. So I think, yeah, that's my biggest fear, though, because it's the time. Jeez, it takes a lot of time to write a book. It takes a lot of time to write. Period. I write poetry from time to time, and it takes a lot of time to write poetry too. So that's definitely it's definitely a thing. So, but yeah, as far as John, as far as the romance novel, I call it fantasy. I don't know if I call it fantasy. I don't know. Like, I don't. Yeah, I call it, or genre bending. I don't know, but I don't know what it would go to outside of fantasy.
No.
I know there's no, like, dragons or nothing, but it's
Yeah.
normal people, everyday people. Just,
I've never written a romance.
yeah, this is my first romance. First book I wrote was crime fiction. Then I wrote a memoir. Um, and then this one is romance.
I wrote a memoir, but I only wrote it because in my MFA program, the head of the program was like, "Oh my God, you have to write a memoir." So I was like, "All right." So,
Well, that
but
was a nice way of saying you're an interesting person. That's all. That's what it was saying.
well, I mean, yeah,
I mean, think about it. Somebody's like, yeah, you should totally sit down and write a book about you. You know.
I'm not. There are many more interesting people.
No,
So
I
yeah,
think, I think what I wish a lot of writers would realize, like, people are more interesting than we give ourselves credit for. It took me a while to figure that out, but people are like, we think our stuff is, like, really small and minute. I know I do a lot of times, but then I share some stuff and people are like, "Oh wow!" I'm like, "No, man, it's just regular everyday life stuff."
Well, I mean, it's interesting because a long time ago, I used to run a writers community, and so I'd have all these writers come out and they, come and take classes, and you'd be surprised the number of people who think that they are completely 100% unique,
Right.
and they're not.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think anytime people are like that, I think yeah, they're not. I don't know.
I mean,
It's I think it's
not to be rude, but
I think it's more. I think it's more their insecurity than I don't know. They're not. I mean, anytime you got to tell people I'm interesting, it's like I would know if you were. You wouldn't have to tell me. So
yeah, I mean, there've been. That's not to say. I mean, it's got to be for someone's memoir to really work. It's got to be more than they're just interesting. Like it's got to be written well. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
It's
of
got to
course.
be really engaging um. But yeah, no, I've met tons of people who were like, I am so interesting. Everybody's gonna love me, and I was like, well, do you have fans? Do people
Right,
follow you?
right.
Like, it's got to be more than just that your life's interesting for it to sell.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
people to read it.
yeah. For people to read it for sure.
Mm.
Um, we're not a country of readers. That's something I don't think a lot of people understand. Um,
Well, we're nosy though. I mean,
that is true.
so like if like someone is probably going to be more likely to read a memoir about like let's say someone who's on a reality TV show than
Right.
they will like someone who like broke some record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think with my memoir, I heard from a lot of agents that it'd be kind of hard to sell. And I kind of look at memoir like that now, unless you've kind of made it
Mm.
or are in the public light. I don't think
Now, why
a
do you
mem-
say it'd be hard to sell?
um one agent told me that people like essentially what you said, being on like a reality show or you're spilling the beans on some famous person or your interaction with a famous person or you are a famous person,
Mm.
and you're just kind of spilling the beans on you or somebody else. I think it like I had this goal that I would like my first book I get published it'd be kind of a novel or something, and then I'd publish a memoir afterwards, kind of explaining who I am and stuff. I don't know. I had all this stuff planned out, but life rarely lets you uh, do that to a T. So,
Mm.
but I think Baldwin did that. No, no, he wrote Notes of a Native Son, and then I think he wrote Go Tell on the Mountain, which is autofiction
Mm.
about himself. Again, I think all writing is autofiction. We can't hide on the page. It's really hard. Really, it's a bad hiding place. But anyway, yes. But yeah, that one agent told me that. The others, because I think it's like two more who didn't tell me. They were just like, yeah, it'd be hard to sell. Um, one was a little bit more interested, but I don't think they kind of. I think the way I presented it was better than the way it was written
Mm.
because when I wrote it, I didn't query for it until like a year later, and I write every day. So as you can imagine, like I got better. So I think I just made a better argument for the book than the quality of the book at the time.
Well, I see.
So yeah, and that can happen. It's kind of I wouldn't call it a pitfall of writing every day, but it's kind of a thing. You do worry about that. It's why I can't make it through like my first publication. I hate it. Because like I've gotten so much better and to sit down and read it is like Jesus Christ. Like I wrote that and was so proud. I put it out into the world.
Mm.
But yeah, but I think that's what happened with the memoir. I think that's why personally I'd have a hard time selling it now. That's why it's just gonna sit
Hmm.
in a drawer because I'm a better writer than I was then, and I definitely had a problem getting interest or people asking for the complete manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
But that's based off of my skill now, not
Not
the
then.
skill of the book. So
Mm.
so that's that.
I don't know. I write in spurts because I spend so much time. I mean, I spend a lot of time working on the press.
Hmm.
So I have to plan out my my own writing, and
Right.
then I just decide. Then I block out like this is I'm only going to be working on my own writing during this period of time until I
Right.
get until I get it done, and then I refocus on other people's stuff. But
Right. Right. You seem so structured. I'm fluid as hell. Structure is good. I have structure to a certain point, but pretty fluid. But
mm.
that's good. That's a good approach to it. I used to write in spots like that.
Now I
When
used to be fluid. It's just that I've got too much on my plate now.
right, right, yeah,
You know, because I still edit. Like I right now I'm finishing up editing one manuscript. I'm halfway through editing another manuscript for Running Wild. I'm probably gonna well, there's two more for 2022 that I'm gonna be editing for RIZE. Actually, no, we're gonna publish them under Running Wild because they're both literary fiction. They're not genre fiction.
right.
And then I'm probably gonna end up editing a couple of the works for RIZE. But we'll see. Oh, and for anybody who's watching, don't forget we're always open for submissions to either for memoir, for fiction or nonfiction for Running Wild, and then for any genre for RIZE. So if you are interested, then just go ahead to our submittable page, which is runningwildpress.submittable.com, and you'll see all the criteria for fiction, nonfiction, and then you'll see when I believe it shows when we're open for anthologies. So we have both Running Wild's recurring anthology for novellas, and we also have our anthology for short stories under Running Wild. But we're also going to have novella and short story anthologies under RIZE. So look for to submit your work to those as well. So just go to runningwildpress.submittable.com and see when they're open. We are publicizing the hell out of it all over the place. We have an amazing, amazing, amazing intern. Her name is Alexis. She's fabulous. And Alexis is just spreading the word. So, especially about RIZE, because we want as many submissions as we can, both for full length as well as for the anthologies. So keep that in mind. So anyway, so I'm probably gonna be editing some of those as well, most likely in the coming year. So,
Be good.
but so that ends up precluding my own writing.
Right, right, right,
But you had talked about that before. It is really hard to because it's like you get into an editing mindset, or you get into like a free writing mindset. Like even
right.
if it's structured, you know what I mean? Like it's two different like things.
Yeah,
Or
it's a
for me,
mindset shift. Yeah,
mm-hmm, yeah,
I find that when I'm editing too. Like I'll edit and then like for me, well, I say I write every day. I do skip days actually writing my own stuff from time to time,
mm,
depending on like how the day is. But for the most part, I don't go any like today. I might skip never 2 days. I can't remember last time I skipped like 2 days
oh
writing.
wow,
But yeah, it's definitely like uh, a mindset shift because it goes from like job to like thing that I love doing. Not that I don't like editing, but like it goes from okay, this is work, and this is like work. I don't know, it's a bit
yeah.
different.
No,
So
no, I totally understand. Well, and it's funny too because it's like if I have a deadline, right? Like if someone calls me and they're like, "Hey, can you write an article for something, or can you write a story for something?" and I have a deadline, it's much easier for me to write to that than it is if I just free write.
that's interesting. You know
Mm-hmm.
what? That's interesting. I'm a. That's interesting. I think you may be. I think I may be the same way.
I mean, I know for me, it's because growing up, I grew up doing writing journalism, like
Right.
for like local papers and all that kind of thing. And so I got very used to like getting a phone call saying, "Hey, can you write blah blah blah?" And I'd be like, "Yep." And I'd just go, I'd interview whoever, I'd do whatever research, then I'd write the story. And, because there was a deadline, right? So it was much easier for me to knock something out. And
Yeah.
I know I'm like that for any kind of writing. So if somebody, like, for real, like if someone called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, can you write a screenplay?" Even though I've written like one, I think I've written one screenplay, I would be able
Oh,
to knock it out because I know my approach is I go, I study the form, and then I study the form, I study the structure, and then I write against it, and then I can knock it out. So
right. That's cool. I don't know. I was like that in college. These days, like I said, fluid. I could definitely benefit from as far as writing, I could definitely benefit from having a deadline just because it does kind of, it gets your mind going. It gets you just kind of like hyper focus, uh, trying to like race the clock to get this thing done. And it does kind of take away some of the, I got to get this perfect. Because when you
right,
don't have a deadline, like you're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna keep working on it until like it's
forever.
perfect. But it's never right. You're always gonna be doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
with a
Oh,
deadline, it's like,
no, I was just saying, and if anybody is watching this, and if you've sent me an email, you're going to get an out of office. The reason for that is I have a couple of significant events that are are for me personally that are scheduled to happen between now and April 13th. So like all day April 13th, and I need to prepare for it. So I don't have the time right now to like. Some people like to email back and forth a lot. I don't have the time for that.
right,
So if anybody sends me a message and they get it out of office, that's why. And so I just ask you to be patient and not keep emailing me because that's already. I literally set up the out of office today, and I'm already getting like people emailing me over and over and over again, like, how come you have an out of office? Where are you? What's going on? Like, okay, I set up the out of office so that you would not do that. So
wait. So
please
I got a
stop doing
question.
that.
So when you do out of office and like people kind of like double email you, does it still comes through?
Oh yeah, because they just keep emailing me. Like I'll say, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to respond to this until April 14th, and so then they immediately email me back. Oh well, then why don't we do this? I'm like, so how? I don't know how me saying I'm not going to be able to respond to you until April 14th somehow translated into you messaging me now
Right.
immediately. So, and then they usually then email me again within a day or two. I
Yeah.
don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't make
I don't
any
know.
sense.
I think people. I don't know. We're in a time where people are used to getting things instantly. It's like instant gratification. Um.
Yeah, I think
You
you're right.
know. So people kind of want that. You know. I don't know.
They're like,
Whatever.
I've got her, so I'm gonna just keep trying until she responds. And I'm like, no,
Right. Right. Doesn't
no.
work that
The
way.
the whole point is for you to stop.
Right. But you said you wrote a screenplay. What was it? Well, like what was it about?
What was it about? Um, I'm trying to remember. I think I wrote I think it was about people who were immortals, but they didn't know it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's dope.
Yeah, and
What'd you do
so,
with it?
huh?
You put? Did you send it out?
I I sent it to a friend of mine and asked him to give me feedback on it.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything.
You
It
know, so
was over
crazy.
a year ago, huh?
Yeah, you know, so crazy. I found that with people like, oh, I love to read your stuff. Like, I've had people who I would talk to every other day, every few days, at least once a week. It's like, I'd love to read your stuff. Cool, man. And like, you don't hear, I didn't anyway, hear from them at all. It's like, dude, I get it. You don't have to read it, or like, we can talk and not have to talk about that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that to be interesting. But that's
I just
funny. That's,
I kind of don't do it anymore.
to be honest with you, I have a select few people
Mm-hmm.
who, if I really said, take a look at this, they will. But sometimes they're a little unreliable, just because I don't know, they kind of read all my stuff from the beginning and like it's like to see the growth. I don't know. I like getting like praise for my work, but most of the time I just want to know. I know I'm a competent writer at this point, so most times I just want to know how I can make it better. So, uh, like, yeah. So those people, it's starting to turn into more like, yeah, you're a good writer. You know that it's good, instead of like, oh, I like this, but you can make that better and stuff. Which it might be a compliment. Maybe I don't know, a lot better than I used to be. But um, there's a select few people. If I say read this, they'll actually sit down, take the time out, and read it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah. So
and I
that's
and I
a good
typically try not to get writers to read my stuff, um, just
You do or
because
don't.
I don't want writers reading my stuff. Not when it's in the drafting stage, because writers are competitive by nature. I mean, we just are. I mean, people don't. It's I don't know. I mean, it's not kind of Sparta, but there's like a competition that goes there, and I think if a writer loves your writing, I think they'll be a little bit more critical
Mm-hmm.
than is deserved. And I think if they hate it, they'll be a little bit more lenient than they should be in order to make it better. And so to kind of like preserve your feelings, or to like, yeah, just not hurt your feelings. And I think that's cool and fine and dandy, but I think when you boil down to it and you kind of take the, I think when you take the route of I'm treating this like a profession,
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of getting that through your head generates thicker skin. It helps generate thicker skin because you're like, this is a profession, this is a craft, and when you have somebody kind of looking at your stuff, giving criticisms, and they're uh, kind of have that competitive mind state, and they're not giving accurate uh, kind of feedback on your stuff. And I guess accurate is subjective. You may have a writer friend who really likes your stuff and just tells you that I like your stuff, and they're not critical. But in my experience, it's always been, sometimes I write something I know it's good. Sometimes I write something I know it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just noticed a trend. Like when I know it's good, I've had people kind of nitpick and stuff. And I'm like, I like to get better. Like I enjoy nitpicking because it does make me better. But sometimes it's like, you know, I can tell you just tried to find something to say about this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I guess is what I'm asking for if I ask them to read it. But so typically, if I want somebody to read something, it's somebody who doesn't write, at least not to be a professional. It's somebody who they may write on their own for fun. But if I get somebody to read who's a writer, it's I don't know. I'm just very selective with that. So
I
yeah,
think it depends on the person's skill level. Because
that's true.
I think a lot a lot of writers, like when they're first learning, they're really critical of other writers' work, and because they're still learning. So then when they're reading a piece for a friend, they oftentimes they're analyzing it the way they would analyze their own work. And
Right.
so when a lot of the criticism they provide, it may or may not be relevant, I guess.
Right. That's a
You
good
know,
point.
so if someone is focused on, let's say the person's really focused on improving the way they describe stuff, right?
Right.
Then when they're reading other people's work, their criticisms will be all around, descriptions. Does that mean that your work needs to improve in terms of descriptions? No, it just means that that is what that person's focused on.
That's true.
So yeah, and I think when as authors get more and more experience and knowledgeable, they you can tell in the way the feedback's provided and how the feedback's, and what they're focused on in the
Right. That's
story.
true. That's
Mm-hmm.
true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because I have a friend. She's a poet. And her feedback typically tends to be really good. And she's accomplished too. So that's a good point. I didn't think about that. It may just depend on where they are in their own writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that has the majority of the work, but I think that too is why your experience with people who aren't writers but they're readers is
Yeah.
positive, because they're reading it as they would, you know, just any story, and
Yeah.
that's really what you want. You want it to be read as if, someone picked it up at a Barnes and Noble.
Yeah. That's exactly what I want with my writing. I want that feel because as a writer, I don't read. I haven't read for entertainment. in a long time.
Mhm.
I read now for craft, to learn how to do this, to learn how to do that. But as far as entertainment, I haven't read to just get lost in a story in a long time. Now it's
Mhm.
like, what can I steal from this? Not necessarily like the themes and stuff, but like techniques. What can I take from them? What can I take from this person, from her, from him? And uh, but it so as a a writer, and you sit down and have somebody read your stuff that um isn't doing that, it is nice because it makes kind of the you learn more from when they don't like it for
Mhm.
me, and then it makes the I really like this story feel a little bit better
Mhm.
because it's like the entertainment factor, just like the uh this person, they took time out of their day, they read my work. It wasn't to learn something, it was simply to see if they could hold their attention, which is what you want. That's all
Mhm.
entertainment is, just hold your attention. It's a time thing. So if somebody can, if your writing can do that, then um yeah, I think it's pretty. Yeah, I think it's dope. So that's really why I try. Now, granted, you ask people who aren't writers to read. Writers understand how important it is to get feedback, though. That I will say. I found that if I ask a writer to read my stuff, they actually take it more seriously and they'll
Mhm.
check it out.
Mhm.
As opposed to somebody who doesn't read, or as opposed to somebody who just reads for entertainment.
Mhm.
Because then, which like again, that's what you want, because everybody's going to be competing with all these different avenues of entertainment. So you get somebody who just reads, you get that kind of, you know, where does my work stand up? Not necessarily with other books, but with the TV or the game system, or going out. How much of my how much of this person's time can I sap and have them enjoy it? Um, so yeah.
That makes sense. Or like, are they would they pick watching or would they pick reading my story or Netflix?
Right.
Like, if they had a choice in terms of what to occupy their time, what would they pick?
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
that's like the real kind of real world of writing is like in publishing. Like you're not just competing at a bookstore. Like the competition for time doesn't stop after you get your receipt and walk out the door at Books a Million.
Right.
Um, it it's constantly you get home, especially all these distractions, music, podcasts, all this stuff, and somewhere in between all of that, like
Mhm.
somebody's got to want to sit down and read your story or remember to read it. Because I'll buy books all the time and won't read them. I'll buy them because it looks nice. Oh, I'll check out the description or something. But I have many a book that's kind of like didn't fare well against other kind of entertainment avenues, or didn't fare well with competing for my time.
Mhm.
So yeah, another reason why it's nice to have kind of first eyes on your stuff that don't write, because you'll see the competition with that. So yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm. I think more like the books that I listen to for enjoyment. You know what
Right.
I mean? And
Yeah.
then, but to your point, the books that I read, I'm usually even if I think I'm reading it for enjoyment, it usually I end up reading it for craft.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I have an Agatha Christie. I used to be a huge Agatha Christie fan when I was a kid, and so I have an Agatha Christie on my bedside, which I was going to start reading tonight. Um, again, but to intentionally to break it down and then like replicate her structure for
Hmm.
her formula for mysteries. So,
Ah,
mm,
that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I think that's kind of the downfall for me of reading as a writer
mm-hmm,
is before I got serious about it. Um, yeah, I did read for like it was really enjoyment. And I wasn't always on audiobooks, but I am now, just because like the world's just fast paced. I want to be able to read while I drive and kind of do that. But the reason, but now, yeah, everything about me reading now is to gather information, which is why I read nonfiction.
mm-hmm,
Or granted, it doesn't help with my punctuation that I don't always sit down and actually look at a page or a screen,
mm-hmm,
but it's nice to have that I don't know, writing there's a noise or music to writing, even though it's silent. And listening to a book helps with that, like helps the music of the writing for me. And it helps uh it really, I think it enhances the descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Um so so yeah, but definitely it's a funny 2 years ago I got serious about writing. I just thought about it just now. I got serious about writing.
Mm-hmm.
And is this book John asked me about. I didn't realize it was uh, sorry, it's a random note. I didn't realize it was some just clicked. Sorry, but that was a sidebar. I'm sorry about that. But
Nope, you're fine.
um, definitely, like I like listening to the audiobooks because there's a yeah, just the music of the writing, and it's almost like reading music when you read and stuff. It's not necessarily audible um on the page, but when you hear it audibly, you do get an appreciation for when you do look at the page, and you can like there's beats, you know, in the writing. So um but yeah, but I definitely prefer audiobooks because I just move around. I don't sit still. I'm a coffee drinker, so like um so I want to be able to just have it in my ear in the car when I take myself out to eat all the time, and maybe if I'm out eating, like I'll have an audiobook going.
Mm.
Um
Now, do you have like a favorite? So I've got like favorite junk foods and favorite like not junk foods. Like
okay.
when you go out to eat, is there anything that you like gravitates toward?
Salmon, fish. I love fish, but specifically salmon. God, I love salmon, especially if it's so many different ways you can cook it, and it's good. I like that's as far as when I go out to restaurants. I like a good steak too, but definitely fish. Junk foods. I ain't gonna lie to you. That pretzel crust pizza from Little
Really?
Caesars. God, I love that thing. Oh my goodness, it's so like the because it's like yes, you like the pretzel with the salt on it, but like
Mm.
it's the cheese they put on it. It's not just the regular like mozzarella cheese or whatever kind of cheese it is. It's like the cheese you dip a pretzel in, like that cheddar. Oh God, it's so good.
Oh.
God, it's so good, so good. I can't eat it. I can't. Grant, like we talked last time, I have a lactose deficiency, so it's not always the wisest thing to do. But
Mm.
I'll take risk. I'll risk it. It's good. It's so good. They only do it every so often,
Mm.
like one time a year, like this time of year.
Mm.
Um, so I try and take advantage of it. I don't do it every day, of course, but I try and take advantage of it. Like when I'm thinking, I might want to go get some just snack on. I'll
Mm.
just go get it. I think it's like here anyway. I think it's like $6, so it's
Oh
not that
wow.
expensive. Yeah, it's not that expensive. So you just go, you get it, and God, it's so good. Half the time when I go get it, I can't. I don't even wait till I get home. I just open the box in the car, and I'll just like. But that's not good for your mouth. It burns the hell out of your tongue and stuff. But
I bet.
what about you?
Nice. So my like junk food is I eat Blaze pizza.
Blaze
They
Pizza. Okay.
hmm yep. And or there's a Chinese restaurant that they have like the most fabulous dumplings.
Okay.
So and then like for like more formal, usually it's like steak or I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm gonna be getting corned beef. I have no idea why. I have been craving a corned beef sandwich.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
a thing. It's a thing here too. Corned beef. I like corned beef. It's good. So what kind of steak do you like though? What's your favorite steak, or is it just like it doesn't matter? I'll take it.
Um, I think like a good sirloin or
Yeah,
good
sirloin.
filet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I found? You can't. I don't know. And I just recently found this, and I know I should have already known. But a steak from a steakhouse and just like a regular restaurant are not the same breed.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it's it's because I went to a steakhouse not too long ago. Got a steak. It was. I mean, I couldn't. It was delicious. And then I went to like where was that? I go? It's like O'Charlie's or something, and I got a steak, and I was like, Gee, this is not steak. This is like it's a burger or something. I don't know. It wasn't. it wasn't the same. And that I just learned that like you got all steaks aren't created equal. So
Mm-mm. No, I recently, like 2 weeks ago, went out for dinner with a dear friend of mine, and we got steaks. And like to your point, it was like eating heaven. Like I was like, oh my God, like this is
yeah,
really like this is for real. And but I mean I don't order, steak super frequently or anything. But yeah, that was interesting. Mm-hmm.
I do like it's the first thing I look at in the menu. Like so I go to the steak section on the menu and then I venture out, right? So I'm looking at steaks. I'm like, I don't know, or pictures on the menu aren't all that. And then I'll like branch out, and then I'll look at the fish, and then I'll look at soups or something. I don't know. But steaks is definitely the first thing. I just flip right through everything, go to the steaks. But a lot of that has to do with I'm not a picky eater per se, but I don't venture out and try new stuff when I go out to eat because my thing is like for what I'm
Oh, I
paying.
do.
I don't know how it's like for what I'm paying. I want to ensure that I like what I'm eating,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
Well,
I
I
don't
asked
want.
them. I'm like, does
Yeah,
this suck?
well, they're not gonna tell you. Well, like, especially if it costs a lot, like their tip will go up. They're not gonna. I wouldn't. If I was a server, I would lie. But if you ask me how's this thing, and it's kind of on the higher end of as far as price on there, I'm saying it's great. It's delicious. People buy it all. Or even if I wouldn't lie to you, I say people get it all the time if they did.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think that's. I don't know, but if it works, it might work. But I've yet to because I've been with people who've done that, and I've yet to have a server say, "Yeah, it's not that good." I've yet to have see a server do that, but it doesn't mean they don't do it. But
Mm.
I,
I don't know. No, yeah, I'll try. I try new stuff. Why
that's
not?
good though, because that's how you
Especially
bring.
if I don't have it at home, like
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm super. I'll try anything, any kind of. I'm a foodie. I'll try any kind of food, but yeah, if I'm going out to a restaurant, I want to know for fact I like this. I want to know for a fact that if I can't finish it, I'm going to take it home, and I'm not just going to like leave it in the fridge
Mm-hmm.
for all of eternity. I want to know that I'm going to eat it.
Actually eat it. Okay.
There's nothing worse than that though. Like I have discovered
Mm-hmm.
food I've put in the refrigerator that would have otherwise been really good had it not been in the refrigerator so long. And it's
Oh.
so crushing when that happens. Like, what is this? This has been here for a while. Oh, geez, that's that. You know.
Oh.
And the longer like stuff in the refrigerator, like I actually don't like. I put stuff in the refrigerator so it doesn't go bad. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that's kind of like the natural. I have extra food I want to put in there, but I hate warming up food from refrigerator temperature. I hate it so much because
Mm.
like I feel like there's something that changes with everything when you do that. Um, and I hate it. So I try to keep stuff room temperature for as long as I can without it going bad, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator and then I'll try to come back to it. But yeah, I've eaten out places, you know, got full, brought some home, and like it's just been lost behind everything in the refrigerator, and then you find it and it's perfectly good food that you didn't eat. It's
Mm.
lost, forgot about.
Yeah. I don't have that problem.
No, okay. So you
Well,
so you you finish all your food at the restaurant.
no. Like, cause if I don't like it when I'm at the restaurant, then I just don't take it home.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always do. You know what? I always do. Because I mean, like I pay for it, even if I don't eat it, or I might nibble on it. If I'm hungry, but I don't know. I hate wasting. I'm just a foodie, and I'm like, I don't know. Food is sacred. I hate wasting food, but we all do it. You'd be surprised. People throw away a bunch of food all the time, every day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good point. But I always get a to go box no matter where I go. Even the smallest stuff, even if it's just small, like I'll still get a to go box. But I'm cheap. I'm really cheap. I've been on the road. I've run out of gas with money in my pocket before because I didn't want to spend
Really?
any money. Yeah, yeah.
Mm. No,
That's not.
I don't know either.
I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. It's not. It's not the wisest thing to do. But I'm just cheap. I'm cheap. So I don't want to waste food at
That's
the.
fine.
I don't want to waste food at the restaurant. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I prefer a good deal. So.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. That's
So,
cool.
are there any stories that you're really looking forward to coming out?
Just when I'm editing right now. I'm having some fun reading it. um, The Durbar's Apprentice. It's going to be a good book. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm 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 just really excited about kind of seeing once it gets out into the world, or the final when it's done and gets out into the world. Just kind of excited to see how it does.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, it'll just be fun and fun to kind of take pride in it. With the writer, see if it do well, or to even like take some lumps if it doesn't. Who knows? In publishing, you never know. So
Mm-hmm. Um,
it'll
Michelle is gonna come back to you with some edits to hers,
okay.
just so you know.
Okay,
I have
that is
no
good to
idea
know.
why she keeps emailing me, but I'm like, you
Yeah,
need to email Chris.
right, right, right. Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool. She can send it over when she's ready. So I'll be
Yeah,
ready. I'll be happy to look at it.
cool, awesome. All right, well, we have 5 minutes. So anybody who's watching, if you have any kind of questions, it can be about writing, it could be about editing, it could be about publicity, it could be about marketing, it could be about whatever you want. Just go ahead and toss it in the comments section, and then either Chris or myself will repeat it, and then we'll respond to it. If you're watching this and it is not Wednesday between 4 and 5 p.m. Pacific time or 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern time, that's not a big deal. Go ahead, toss your questions in the comments section, and we will respond to it next Wednesday. And we're always here. Why? Dang if I know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're here to answer again any kind of questions that you may have. It can be again about storytelling. It could be about writing. It could be about whatever you want. Whatever you want to ask, feel free. So
We'll answer it. Almost everything. We'll answer almost everything.
almost everything. Yeah. Every once in a while we get a kind of question where it's just like, yeah, no.
Right.
But 90% of the time we will answer the question. So are you
That's
going to be
true.
working on the Dunbar's Apprentice after tonight?
Yeah. Well, no, I sent it. I sent it off to the writer to make the corrections.
Oh, cool.
So I'm just waiting to get those back.
Okay. Nice. Um, yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be good to get that out. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to us putting out the Dunbar's Apprentice. That'll to your point. It's a really good story. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, when I get those notes back, I'll take a look at it, make sure everything's up to standard, and then I'll be sending it to you.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be
Yeah.
fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. Cool. Cool. All right. Well, guys, you got 3 whole minutes. That's all you have. And then we're going away
We're
until
going
next
away. It's next
Wednesday.
week. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm trying to think if there's anything super interesting going on. I don't think so.
How'd,
Go ahead.
how's it go? How's the COVID test go?
Oh, I came out fine.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
No. Yep. I have no. It must have just been like a flu. So.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Now I'm just trying to figure out how I can actually get the vaccine. My husband got the vaccine. He's in Germany, and they because he's an artist and because he's a compromised immune system, he got moved up in the.
Oh, nice.
So he got it today actually, and
Okay.
then so I'm just putting my name on every list I can find.
Yeah.
Somebody will.
Yeah, I put my name on the list, but then again, had that family friend who was able to kind of get it, get me to where I could get it earlier. But I put my name on the list. When they brought it out, it was long. It was a long list. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty long list. So, but yeah, I got the first dose. I think I'm supposed to go back in like 2 weeks. I think now 2 weeks. I go back and get the second dose, and I'll be completely vaccinated.
Yeah.
I hear you can still get it though.
I got a text asking like, do you want to be on the list to get the vaccine? I'm like, yes.
Right.
So.
Of course. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Who knows? Maybe they might figure. That might be the one bumps you up in front of the line or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just get it done and over with.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, all right. Well, guys, it is 4:59. We are gonna close this up for the this week. I want to thank everybody who's joined us. I'm Lisa Kastner, and I'm here with Chris Major, and we are from Running Wild Press and RIZE. And we are here Chris and I are here every week, every Wednesday, between 4 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Pacific time, or 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time. And you can ask us any kind of questions that you have. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining and wishing you a fantastic week. So see you next week.
See you guys.